Hi everyone, delighted to welcome Tess Howard today, England and GB hockey legend. I can use the word legend, Tess. So she's going to talk to us about her Olympic journey and also the way that she's managed to persuade the powers that be that women should be wearing shorts when they play hockey, which when you say out loud sounds bonkers that they shouldn't be in the first place. But there we go, Tess. Thank you very much for joining us and rock away.
Thank you. First of all, hello Ben on the audience. It's great to be here to represent my organization, Inclusive Sportswear, which I will touch on, but also to probably connect with some people that I played against when I was at the Perth school as an independent school. Whilst I say that, I mean the staff, of course. So I'm going to talk today about my story to Olympic shorts because that phrase has so much in it that I feel like I want to share with the heads of departments, but also so that you could share stuff with your students and perhaps get involved in inclusive sportswear, which I'd really like you to. So I'll just share and we will get going. So that photo is from the recent Paris Olympics. The coral, which was a great choice of color for GB. But there you have myself in shorts playing at the Olympics. And what that took was not only the last 6 years of being an international athlete, the last 3 years of campaigning to have shorts for the Olympic team, but my time before that becoming a hockey player. So as I said, I was at the Perth school, and when I was 15, had my or 14, had my first trials at under 16 level. I didn't get in that year, and I went to a academy and had to work very hard to be able to get into the under 16s the following year. But then once I was in, I felt like this was my place, and I only ever played hockey for fun, but my hockey career from 2016 through to 2018 was extremely rapid. I with the help of Durham University when I went there, won Young Player of the Year in 2018. And then I went and watched the World Cup in August 2018 and got so inspired by the senior team that I thought I wanted to become a senior player, all the while just still at first year at Durham doing my geography degree. Um, three months later, I had my debut for the Great Britain team out in Shangzhou in China, which was pretty surreal. Playing with heroes who previously, a couple of years ago, or from that moment, had won an Olympic gold, and so everything was um, very inspiring, and I was completely intoxicated with the environment. I joined the Great Britain women's team and became fully contracted, which meant that I split my Durham degree into part-time and had to do that alongside the program, or with the sort of the want to attend Tokyo. So that's in, 18 months from this time that I have my first cap. And I'm told by the coach that there's a good chance if I keep going. But all the while, I'm doing my Durham degree, which is geography. I'm learning about social theory, I'm learning about gender theory, and I'm also feeling extremely uncomfortable in a sport. And I'm asking this question, even though I'm playing at the top of my game, why am I wearing shorts? And I love this photo because you can see the goalie in shorts. And it never really occurred to me until I started thinking about it, why they didn't wear a skort. And that's because, frankly, it would be extremely impractical for them. So I had this discomfort in my body image being thrust onto into this to the limelight, being on TV and having to wear a compression tank top and a skort, as you see here. I'm celebrating having just scored and won a shuffle, but inside I'm feeling pretty uncomfortable. And my question was, why are we wearing shorts if we all wear why are we wearing skorts if we all wear shorts for training? So here's a photo of us from GB training, and you're in leggings or you're in shorts. No one ever has ever run a fitness test in a skort because that's just impractical. So I went back to my research and I looked through tennis and looked at like how the history, and I saw Emma Raducanu wearing a skort now, and you know what's the history in 1896. There you can see what we used to look like. 2021, you can see the link, and I thought, hang on, even Emma is wearing shorts to do training in. So what's going on here? I was getting really deep into this, and I thought I would write my dissertation on the impact of gendered school sport uniforms on participation in sport, because I thought there must be something. If I'm at the top of my game and I'm feeling uncomfortable wearing a skort, I'm not going to stop, because I'm not going to stop playing in a skort because I had internalized that that is what hockey players had to wear. But what if I had a different relationship to sport and it was the thing that stopped me playing? I wanted to know, is that the reason why there is, you know, is that one of the reasons why that we have such a low participation rate in girls in sport, or girls start to drop out at teenage years? Has it something to do with that? But as I was starting my dissertation and getting ready for Tokyo, I was 3 months away from the Olympics, and the unthinkable happened on the 13th of April 2021, and the hockey paper sums it up quite nicely. I ruptured my ACL in training 3 months before the games, and everything was thrust into confusion and hatred and grief. I had my ACL reconstruction. There's some photos from my phone from the surgery. But you know, I'm not one, as if there's anybody from the purse listening, I'm not one to let a setback hold me back. So I decided to have a couple of gins and get my my paper finished. Did my dissertation, finished it off. And there's me a few weeks after my surgery finally submitting it. So what did I look into? I wanted to understand why these uniforms from Victorian times still have a legacy today. But I wanted to know, is school sport uniform currently practical, professional, or patriarchal? So I looked quite deeply into the school uniform policy. You can see there on the left, the Equality Act, saying that whilst schools don't have any obligation from the government has no obligation to determine uniforms, they have to abide by the Equality Act. And section 2.17 down there, for example, differences in dress requirements for girls and boys are standard. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why they are unlikely to be regarded as discriminatory if we find out that uniform, as it is currently and traditionally, is impacting girls. I didn't understand that. And I looked at a lot of research, and I couldn't find any sort of paralleling between that statement and the fact that uniform does impact girls, whether you're talking about school uniform in the way it is currently, very gendered, with the exception of girls being allowed to wear trousers, which only recently was changed in the school uniform guidance. It used to state that schools could determine if girls can wear trousers, but obviously the girls should determine if girls can wear trousers. So but fortunately that's changed. But the only advice given to PE kit, it should be practical, comfortable, and appropriate to the activity, and affordable. So on paper, that looks very good. Practical, comfortable, appropriate. What does appropriate mean? That word is quite difficult to sort of synonymize, but you could say appropriate is synonymous with traditional. And as we had just seen, tradition doesn't always bring you to the best outcome. I was more concerned with the experiences of young people. So I did a 400 people survey, and I found that the stories behind girls' feelings in their gendered school sport uniforms, or just generally in their school sport uniforms. Sally felt she was too big in a school. Lydia couldn't wear leggings, wasn't allowed. Chloe, Lucy, Jess, Mia, Stacey, Fiona, these anonymized people who had these stories about how they felt. And I realized that we were doing something whilst with our school policy that was discouraging girls from feeling comfortable. And if they're not feeling comfortable, how do you expect them to run around with all the rest that's going on when you're a girl going through puberty? I wanted my research to not just to be qualitative insofar as it's just words, but I wanted to get some facts. So I found that 70% of women had seen girls drop out of sport because of sports kit and body image concerns. That's extremely alarming. That's why I put it there. It's alarming because, what are we doing if that's the case? The bigger question of why, number one reason was lack of choice. To chest exposing tight items, too short skirts or hot pants, couldn't wear shorts or leggings, body image and size concerns, discomfort and low confidence, and period concerns. And I'm doing my research and I'm finding this, and it's just, is there a solution? And so I asked, what do girls want? Choice, skirts, comfort, female body consideration, which is hilarious because surely that should be at the start, dark bottoms, and leggings and tracksuits. And the point was that it's not that girls are being forgotten about, it's just that we're looking at this in completely the wrong way. We're thinking about sports kit as a way to uniform everybody. But really what we should be doing is looking at sports kit as a way to encourage participation, performance, belonging in sport. And if you have girls who are coming to PE or sport and feeling insecure in themselves, then you've already lost them, because that's not the point of sport. But just quick segue to my rehab, because whilst this was going on, I'm it's sort of the end of COVID, so you still have to wear a mask, and I like to put these photos in because it just shows like quite how quite how real it all is. I very nearly quit. I was in a very dark place, but the thought of going to the Commonwealth Games was there. So in 2022, I went to the Commonwealth Games and we won gold, which was absolutely incredible. You can see my little face there in the middle, just pure joy. The reason why I bring up the Commonwealth Games in this story, not only that we won it, but that suddenly we were thrust into the papers, and I was fortunate enough to be the one that touched the ball in, deflected the ball into the net to win against Australia. So I had a microphone thrust in my face. And it just so happened that there was something that I wanted to talk about. And this was the point where my discomfort was rising and my patience was waning, because not only did I feel like I was so concerned with my body image, and I was upset wearing what I had to wear in a compression tank top and a skirt, but I was faced with the reality that this is the case for girls across the country, and we've lost so many girls to this issue. So what can be done? I wanted to use my voice. I finally felt like I had the voice. So I looked to my heroes, Ruth Bader Ginsburg: fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. And so I thought, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get people to join this? Because I know at least half my teammates want to, because they complain about our kit so much. But I know they're not going to do it unless there's something to join. I thought girls at school aren't going to start being different and wearing shorts unless they see role models. So how do I lead others to join me? I finally realized this was not a vendetta against the sport. This was about choice. And I added choice to my vocabulary, and I started talking about the right to wear a pair of shorts if we train in shorts, the fact that men wear shorts but we don't. It wasn't a fact of going through the patriarchal lens of it, which I can talk at length about because it was the basis for my research, but you can simplify it really down to the word of choice. So how did I do it? My dream to play in Olympic shorts. I should say, probably, I don't know if I did say this, but the policy at the time was, so this is a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago now, that the tradition was to wear skirts, but the legislation from the Federation of International Hockey and England Hockey said that you had to look uniform. So if we go back to choice, you can't have choice if you all have to look uniform. So what I wanted to do was see if I could change the vocabulary so that it said that skirts and shorts could be worn in the same team as long as they looked uniform, and add other protections for long sleeves and hijabs and turbans so that we were being truly inclusive. But hockey is a traditional sport, so how do you do it? Number one, I published my research in March 2023, and fortunately Taylor and Francis and Durham published it to be free, open access, so everyone can go and look at it. It's had tens of thousands of views, and just wonderful to see it have so much interest. But you can't publish a paper and it do something in academics unless you have a media storm behind you. So I went out to the news, and it went across, just not just nationally but globally, how we could change hockey uniform. And there was this wonderful the hockey paper there saying become a sports sports activist, and I think that was probably me feeling like I'd finally made it in the hockey world rather than winning anything but becoming an activist. And the third thing I had to do was make sure I kept getting selected. Otherwise no one was going to listen to me. So here's me. This is the last time I ever wore a skirt, I think, out in New Zealand, playing for GB against Australia and New Zealand in April. So that's April 2023. And what I love is the Telegraph called it "Shorts or Skirts, Hockey at the Centre of a Kit Revolution." And I should say the Federation of International Hockey had not said anything. This was a storm. So what happened from this moment, from this April 2023, was that we wrote a letter as a team to the FIH demanding that we have choice. We then had a 3-month build up to try and get shorts at the Europeans. We were successful. We got shorts DPD'd from our supplier, which had to be tailored to look identical to the skirts. It arrived the day before the tournament started. So we ran out last summer as the first team of any sport to be in a combination. And then following that, we designed the first ever hockey skirt and short combination with Mizuno, which you would think wouldn't be rocket science, but we finally did that. All the while, I am competing and going through, small injuries and things like that. But finally, last month, basically, we ran out in a combination of skirts and shorts, and our numbers were half and half pretty much. And there you can see in the bottom right, Sarah Robertson, Lily Owsley, and myself all wearing shorts, having just collaborated to score a goal against USA. So I say all of this. What does it have to do with inclusive sportswear? Well, everything. Because I got to be at the biggest stage and wear what I was comfortable in. But that is not the same for other athletes. It's not the same in other athletes in hockey. It's not the same for schoolgirls at school. It's not the same for other sports, other religions, other ethnicities. So I wanted to create a movement that we could tackle the systemic issue of sports kit insofar as why is it not based on what is going to help you participate, perform, enjoy it, and belong in your sport. So I created inclusive sportswear. I've explained the issue, but the issue is for all groups. And it's not just my own research, but the Women in Sports come out with it, the Well HQ, other organizations, Access Sport, Pride Sports, they all have the same understanding that there is an issue. The issue is at the elite level, in all different avenues, in athletics and swimming, in gymnastics. What is the industry lacking, I asked. There is no central understanding of how to achieve sports kit that concerns participation, performance, enjoyment, and sense of belonging. We need a standard based on inclusion. We need expert guidance, and we need a community to educate, advocate, and inspire inclusion. So last year, I started Inclusive Sportswear, a non-profit that has an inclusive sportswear charter, that has a free guidance and has a free digital platform. And I've been working on it for the last 18 months to try and create something that could be lasting. So we have developed the Inclusive Sportswear Charter, which I will touch on in a sec. But really what the mission is to educate, advocate, and inspire systemic inclusive sportswear policy and practice for schools, clubs, national governing bodies, and brands, because we're concerned with the whole network. The aim of inclusive sportswear is to eliminate compulsory, and the key word is compulsory because choice is really important, compulsory, sexualized, and impractical gender-based kit policies in schools, because we know from research that it affects comfort and confidence for all. So if you remove the compulsory element and you add choice, you will see naturally where girls go. Unfortunately, there's obviously lots of peer pressure that's around that, but we want to create an environment where girls can choose, people of all backgrounds can choose. And we want to inclusive sportswear simplify the adoption of inclusive sportswear policies by providing open access. And that is why I'm talking to you today, because it's completely free to join inclusive sportswear, and it always will be once we have launched. The network we operate in, so you see that because the point of inclusive sportswear is systemic change. So schools is one aspect of it, but schoolwear brands, we're working with Stevenson's as our headline partner. That involves Player Layer and XXV, which I'm sure are all involved, has involvement with other with some of the people here. National governing bodies, sports clubs. Just to give you an example, we're working with England Cricket at the moment to do the full network, as you see here. So their brands, their clubs and counties, and how they issue guidance through to their schools. So I wanted to share with you the network, because the mission and the charter is the most simplified version of what it means to be inclusive in sportswear. Very simple 5 principles. We enable participation, enjoyment, performance, and a sense of belonging in sport. We champion inclusion by supporting choice and empowerment, comfort and practicality, identity expression, and collaboration. She thought, okay, well, that sounds great. Of course, I want to pledge to the charter. But in reality, how are we going to ensure that we are doing these principles? How do we know we're going to enact the charter? This is where Inclusive Sportswear has created expert guidance areas that will be available on an online platform launching in January. The Youth Sport Trust, Access Sport, Pride Sports, the Well HQ, AQD, and more more coming to create these areas of expert guidance so that schools, clubs, brands, NGBs can have this available to them. So Inclusive Sportswear will become, the website is live now, but we're creating a portal where individuals like head teachers or head of departments, for example, can join the community to access the guidance completely for free. You can go through and look at your own leisure, and then you can become an inclusive sportswear advocate through a learning course. And then you have the ability as a school to pledge to the charter and become an inclusive sportswear champion by demonstrating how your school is enacting the charter. And this will create a network. So here's the champion process. A network of schools that champion inclusive sportswear. There will be awards based on schools that are being are championing it in the best possible ways. And the important thing to explain is that this is not about homework. This is about inspiring not a moment, but a movement, and joining something that is extremely positive, and not looking back and thinking like we have to change tradition. This is not about changing tradition. This is about evolving to move to the understanding of what sports was always for, which was to enjoy it, and to feel confident and empower young children to have a lifelong enjoyment of sport. And as somebody who has gone through the independent school system, been to university, and am a Olympian now, my relationship to sport when I was 11 is how I hope my relationship to sport is now. I mean, obviously it's quite hard when it's your profession, but the point of that childlike enjoyment is why we're all still playing sport now, or want people to continue it. So it's very important that sports kit policy supports that. And that is how and why I created inclusive sportswear. So actions, just before I finish, go to the website, and I would love you to join the community, and you can leave your email, or you can email Inclusive Sportswear directly, and we can start this journey together. The platform will be completely launched in January, but at the moment we just have our sort of holding website where you can go and learn more about what we are doing, and the systemic change that we hope to create. Thank you so much for listening. Ben, thank you.
Tess, that was brilliant. I think well, first of all, I think well done, genuinely. As you say, sometimes you got to step up, haven't you? And it's all very well, moaning about these things, and you probably have stepped up. So I think well done for that. But also from teaching staff, thank you, because we need these ideas and platforms so that we can also champion these ideas. I mean, I've worked in schools where even female staff have said to me, I don't think it's appropriate for girls to wear anything else but a score. And I think I said to you once, my two daughters are 20, and I'm pretty sure there aren't too many teenage girls or 20-something girls who have gone into a sports shop and say, please, can I have a score? And when I go to the gym, women are wearing leggings and shorts. So I think the choice thing is fantastic. And also, whatever we go back to as school teachers, it's about enjoyment. Sport is meant to be fun, isn't it? And no matter what level you're playing at, but particularly at school, if we can make sport fun and enjoyable, and therefore by making it, make girls feel like they belong in a P lesson or a sports lesson because what they're wearing, I think that's fantastic. So genuinely, thank you. I think you're doing a fantastic job there, and it's really, really helpful for directors of sport to have people like you being a role model, so girls can see, people like you not only just wearing shorts, but sticking up for what you believe in, and going for it. So genuinely, thank you for that. I think you're doing a fantastic job. Ben, you got any questions before we go?
Thanks.
No, I thought Tess was brilliant. Really, really like incredibly inspiring, and it's something that I'm literally thinking about emailing our headmaster about now and thinking about what we can do. But what do you think are the biggest barriers to it in terms of for you?
The biggest one will be, we've always done it this way. And staff that don't feel like it's necessary. I think that's why I've partnered with expert organizations, so that it's not my word. It's it's not an opinion. It's fact. and ultimately it will create a better sporting environment. So I think that's the biggest barrier. Hopefully the process of becoming an inclusive sportswear champion will be exciting and will be something that the whole school can get involved in. And because it's, you saw the guidance areas there, it's across all groups. It can be something that schools really are proud of, and that's what I'd like it to become. Not something. I think the biggest barrier would if we framed it in a way that was like auditing and looking at what you've done before and scolding people, because that's not what this is about. It's about moving. I think it was the same barrier that was to get shorts for the GB team, were people in our team saying, what happens, because we're not going to look uniform, we're not going to look the same, and tradition will have gone. And I just thought, well, if we don't change it now, we'll never change it. And I think that's very powerful for schools, because it's progressive, that the school system is progressive and we need to evolve. But unless there's a leap of faith from some big schools to begin with, like I know the Perth already have shorts, but it's so much bigger than just a pair of shorts. It's generally being accepting of like what match kit at schools could look like, and it being you can wear anything of that color on the bottom half, as long as you have that uniform match shirt. That's something that data is proving, that people still think you look like a uniform team, but you can feel how you feel. So I think that's probably the biggest barrier. And like time. The inclusive sportswear advocate training will be no more than an hour start to finish for all of the guidance. So hopefully teachers will go on that journey themselves and then feel like they're part of a community as well. So like Ben, you could become an inclusive sportswear advocate in January when it's launched.
Yeah.
And then you've got the little badge and the certificate and the backing of an organization to be like, it's not me, I'm not saying it, they're saying it, which is what I wish I had. Like, I think we should do this because I'm an advocate and I've got this organization behind me, and thousands of other advocates in other schools, and it creates this like momentum that I think will quite easily be unstoppable.
That's great. Smashing. Can't wait to get the badge.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for that, Tess. And I think, again, you've hit the nail on the head there. When teachers have got facts, we've always known this, but when we've got facts and an organisation or organisations behind us, it makes change a lot easier. So again, I just wanted to thank you for that, and thank you for your time today.
Pleasure. And I should finish if any schools are looking for guest speakers, I would love to come in and share my story. I've done it a lot with other schools, and just a chance to connect with the students and share more. I mean, that was just a flavor, but of the whole story. I would love to come in. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tess.